Welcome to the very first episode of the Stick 'em Up podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Carafilis, here with my other co-host, Luca Rosado. Basically, what this podcast is intended to be is we're going to talk about our two favorite teams, that being the Penguins and the Red Wings, but also we kind of want to focus more on the NHL as a whole and kind of just have fun with it and give you guys our take on things that are going around the league and just keeping up with our favorite teams and all the stories that come along with it. So, Luca, you got anything to add before we get started here?
No, everything sounds about right. I mean, we're just going to cover the NHL in like a broader sense and everything, just news that is relevant and, day by day.
Yeah. So we'll see where these kind of things take us. Like I said, this is going to be our first episode, so there's going to be a lot more improvement that's going to come along with it. But I guess what better way to get going than just to hop right into it. So our first topic that we're going to talk about today is the Calder race. Mm-hmm. And more importantly about the Calder race, maybe just rookies that are standing out in general to us and what our general takes on them are. So who do you want to talk about first today?
I think, there's no bias to it because of being a Red Wings fan and, Sider just winning it. But, Jake Sanderson is doing really good over in Ottawa, a team that, right now defensively is not really anything impressive. But, it seems like he's holding his own. He has, I think, 9 or 10 points?
Yeah, 9, yeah.
I don't know if he has a goal yet or not.
Mm-mm.
No, but, he's doing, sounds like he's, trying to, maybe make it another case that it's another defenseman that wins it back-to-back years. Anything you think?
Yeah, his advanced analytics are good. I saw that Jay Fresh guy, and he said at a 9, high 90 or in the 90s on his overall contribution, which was pretty good. And as of right now, as we're recording this, he's gonna be the number one defenseman at least for tonight's game because Shabbat. He's close. I know he's day to day now, but I don't think he's playing tonight. And obviously they're still without Zub, and Bernard Docker just got hurt. So as of right now, Sanderson's the number one defenseman, and it literally took probably a month for Sider to be the number one. Even if that, and get just
probably less than that. And it seems like it's going to be the same. It seems like it's the same thing for him.
But with Shabbat, he's going to be on that team for a long time. So I think it's like a 1-2 punch kind of thing. So yeah, I think if Sanderson just keeps up the play, maybe he won't necessarily win it. Mm-hmm. Maybe I think at this pace, there's no way you don't have him as a top 3 favorite. But then there's also another player in Ottawa who's having a good year, and Shane Pinto, which as of right now, 8 goals, 1 assist, which is pretty good. And I know he would have played last year, but I know he got hurt. Really,
yeah, he missed the entire season.
Yeah, he got hurt his first or second game in. But Pinto, hopefully that's your not even a 1-2, but he can be more than a 3C. I feel obviously with the injury to Norris, you hate to see that happen, but I feel it's the best case scenario for Pinto to really show the organization what he's capable of. Now, I'm not too sure if he's actually playing second line center minutes. I know right when Norris got hurt, they had Brassard.
Elite 2C.
Yeah, they had Brassard be the 2C. I don't know if that's still the case. But, you have Stützle, who's a center, Norris, who's a center, Drew can play center, Pinto, obviously, center. So, you have a lot of flexibility there. But I feel regardless, Pinto is going to be a great player. And obviously, there's going to be slumps and streaks. But as of right now, the layout for him, if the season were ending right now, would you have Pinto as a nominee?
Yeah. No, I think, again, from how hot the start of Raymond and Sider had last year, and obviously they both cooled down. People were saying maybe they'll just both be nominated, and then it'll just be Zegras or Jeannot or someone else. But obviously they both cooled down. But right now, if the season did end, I could very well see both of them up there because I remember at the beginning of the year, I'd always say my hot takes or my bold takes. Maybe not even bold, but I would always, have hot takes for Rookie of the Year or just anything. And when it came to the Calder stuff, I think mine was William Eklund. Now we all know how that turned out. He's not even playing.
Yeah, but there's really no reason for him to be playing right now.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
So right now, who's besides those two?
Beniers.
Beniers is probably the other one.
Yeah, from the top of my head, I really can't. Well, that Parsonen guy from Nashville. Yeah. It's only 4 or 5 games, and I think 4 games in, so it is really way too early to see if he'll even be. If you have a rookie being point per game already, there should be no reason to send him back down. But obviously, don't even know what the rest of the season is going to be for him. But I would say as of right now, definitely Sanderson. I'll just to be different, I would say my top 3 as of right now would be Sanderson, Beniers, and Power.
That's fair. I haven't really paid attention to Power all that much.
He doesn't have a goal either, but I think, like Sanderson, I think he has like 8 or 9 assists as well.
Yeah, and I mean, both those teams have, like, when it comes to their defense, if they can figure out the supporting cast, it's like you have Darlene and Power, and then X, Y,
and
Z.
on real top 6. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Ottawa and Buffalo are very similar, but, I mean, kind of going a little off topic, but the reason why one team, I mean, again, as of right now, Buffalo's on an 8-game losing streak, but I would definitely take Don Granato over DJ Smith any day of the week as a coach.
Yeah, I mean, you already know my thoughts on that. I literally don't even have to repeat it. I just don't think he's the right coach for the Senators.
You and every Ottawa Senator fan right now.
Yeah, and if I said that to Brady Tkachuk right now, he'd probably just backhand me.
Yeah, but I mean, other than that, looking around, I mean, I know he's not going to be in the Calder race, but while we're on the topic of rookies, Shane Wright and getting loaned to the Coachella Firebirds as of like yesterday. What do you? Give me your thoughts on it. Like, what do you think?
I think I saw something that said he was only going to be down there for 14 games.
2 weeks. So he didn't get sent down. He got loaned. So like the rule is like if you're a healthy scratch in the NHL for an X amount of games or an X amount of days, then you're eligible to be loaned down to the AHL on a conditioning stint. And you can only be down there on the conditioning stint for a maximum of 14 days. So I know Chris Johnson was talking about, like, before he even got loaned yesterday, he said, like, last week how the plan is to loan Wright down for 2 weeks. And then at that point, how the timeline matches up. By the time those 2 weeks are up, he's ready to go to the World Junior Training Camp or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So it kind of, like, plays out evenly, I guess.
Yeah, you can touch the ice and whatnot. It'd be nice.
Yeah. But, I mean, because a lot of people were talking about how, like, he's too good for juniors right now.
Which is, I mean, he's in, like, I don't know why, like, Dave Hacksaw is the way he is when it comes to, like, this particular kid. But it's just, like, I mean, obviously it's not his decision, but, I mean, their GM wanted, Ron Francis wanted him to play. Obviously he's not getting that time. But if he's him being too good for a league, in my eyes, is better than literally not touching the ice.
Well, I think this is where you got to think about it because, I mean, COVID, yeah, it ruined a lot of things for a lot of players, NHL and, amateur or whatever. And Shane Wright didn't play at all that season, where a lot of Canadian players, they went over to Europe and played, which is, it's totally their decision, and if Shane Wright didn't want to do that, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you got to realize he didn't play at all for a whole year.
I think a lot of people forget that, actually. Sometimes even I forget it now.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, if you think that he's too good for juniors, okay. Not saying that he's good, not saying that he's bad. Skill alone, I think he should go back to juniors this year, literally because that he already missed out. If he's too good, then okay, he's too good. He can improve his skills. He can do the Michigan and juniors all he wants. You know what I mean?
Be fun.
And then, because I think you and I, the way we look at prospects, we have kind of the same approach. How it's better to take your time with them than
throw them straight.
Yeah, right draft +1, go to juniors. Draft +2, maybe just AHL, and then get your 9 games in your second season after being drafted, and then that draft +3 is when you're full-time NHLers. So I think there's really, you already got graciously gifted for Shane Wright to get you.
Fell right in their lap.
Yeah, fall to 4th overall. Like that in itself is a gift. So I don't think. And, if you want to play your 9 games, because that's what Eklund did last year. He played out his 9, or it was close to 9, and then they sent him back, whatever they did with him. I think give Wright the 9 games, see what he's about. I actually give him ice time, too. I mean, that's a whole nother thing to talk about, his ice time allocated. And then send him to juniors or whatever. Like, there's no shame in sending him to juniors. Like, I know Seattle's off to a great start, so it doesn't really matter, but, you're still building for the future.
Wait, he hasn't played 9 yet?
He's played 7.
Okay.
His last game, you know when his last game was? I checked today.
Was it the Pens?
Yep.
I was just a guess.
Yeah, that's his last game.
Whether or not he plays those next 2 games, does the 9-game trial and whatnot, it's like, ideally, if he plays those extra 2 or he doesn't, still think you just got to send him back to juniors because what is those extra 2 games going to do? Is he gonna explode for 4 points in 2 games or something?
Hypothetical here. Actually, it might not even be a hypothetical. It might actually just be what happens. So, goes to the AHL, does that 2-week conditioning, whatever. Who cares what happens there? Okay, then he's going to go to the World Juniors. I mean, we know that.
Yeah.
What if? So, say he lights the lamp up there, like wins tournament MVP, does great. What do you do from there? Are you going to stick with him now in the NHL? Are you actually going to play him, or does that not even matter and you're just going to send him to the OHL anyways?
I mean, if he does that, I think it's going to just be another advocate for Ron Francis to just keep him up in the league, and then there's going to be Dave Haxall who's going to not play him, and then I really don't think it's going to get resolved as long as he stays up there. I think Ron Francis just has to bite the bullet and just send him down, no matter how well he does in if he wins tournament MVP or what. Like the kid, like you said, he missed a year of development. I'm pretty sure it was like the biggest year he could have had too.
Yeah.
Like one of the more important ones. But I mean, not playing is there is no pro to not playing.
Yeah, I mean I agree. So I think that's enough time to spend on that topic. But yeah, either way, the answers to this Shane Wright dilemma aren't going to be answered for a while still.
You know, definitely not going to be answered by us. We can't. If other podcasts can't answer them,
Yeah. So we really can't answer that. But any other interesting rookie talk?
Holtz isn't really doing much, which for a team is.
Yeah.
The firepower that they have over there in New Jersey, I would think he would be doing more. I think he's only played 4 games.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's because he was scratched or if he was injured or both.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I know he has a goal, I think.
He has 1 point, I think,
yeah.
As a goal.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I mean, what is he drafted? What is this technically? His draft plus 3?
2.
2?
Because he was drafted in 2020.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think it's a little early. I mean, like I said, you just want to be careful. But that's also the thing with the Devils too. It's after so many years of being bad and getting so many high draft picks, I mean, not all of them are going to pan out.
Now they have a surplus.
You know what I mean? You got Nemec. It's going to be great.
Yeah, that's...
Hughes, Heacher, first overall, self-explanatory, there. And then
they have Luke Hughes, too.
Oh,
that defense,
forgot about him.
Yeah, no, that's
You know what I mean? So, I mean, yes, you always want young talent in the system. I'm not saying that, but, there comes a point where it's all of these top picks in years consecutive as the Devils had, not all of them are going to pan out. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I mean, if that happened, then we would see... Well, Buffalo would have already been a dynasty, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think that's a good one. I mean, Logan Thompson, too, I guess. It's weird. He's 25, but still technically a rookie. I knew he was going to be good at the start of this season.
Has his save percentage or anything dropped off a little since the first maybe 2 weeks? Obviously he was killing it, and I would assume he still is, considering that Vegas is only has 3 losses.
So, as of right now, he has a .925 save percentage and a 2.27 goals against.
How many games played?
12.
That's really.
I mean, he's
good.
After last year, how Vegas season ended on making the playoffs. That was not his fault. I mean, we watched almost those last 5 games. I mean, until they mattered, didn't matter. Especially those shootouts. He was standing on his head. Mm-hmm. I remember the Dallas shootout. Whenever, don't even know who scored, or it might have been the San Jose one. Bordelot scored the winner.
Yeah, they came back. Yeah,
and just seeing Thompson face down on the ice, dude, that that was not his fault. And now for him to bounce back, he's still a rookie, but you know what I mean? Respond, still be good, because last season, in 19 games, he had a .914 save percentage.
I didn't even know that. I don't think a lot of people knew that, actually.
That's what I mean. This kid played good, so I think, and then now raises the question, are you even going to need Leonard for next? I mean, he's out for the whole year, right? Mm-hmm. So, and obviously, Vegas needs cap space, and they're not even loyal to their players. So that $5 million that Leonard's making for the next multiple seasons probably will get shipped out. And I'm not surprised.
And they have him on that good contract too.
Thompson, yeah. Literally
2 or 3 years, whatever.
3 years of under $1 million.
Yeah, that's probably one of the best bargains.
But then you traded a 4th round pick for Aiden Hill, which is definitely a lot. I mean, he's playing well. I'm not saying he's not, but you got that for insurance just in case Thompson wasn't doing well.
I think it was safe. I don't see an issue with that.
No, I don't either. But you have 3 NHL caliber I think Brossois in the minors though. I remember like a week ago they sent him down or something. I know he's on waivers. Either way, Brossois, Hill, Thompson, that is very capable.
Now they're making sure that if they have another goalie crisis at the end of the season, that they came prepared.
Yeah, better be safe than sorry, I guess. So, with that being said, I think that can wrap up, the rookie and Calder talk.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on. Probably now at this point a little bit over 20% into the regular season. So now you're starting to see that teams falling where they should be. So, in terms of the playoff picture,
starting in the West.
Yeah, in the West. So, in the West, as of right now, let me just pull it up real quick. I'll just do by conference.
Mm-hmm.
Your top 5: Vegas, Dallas, LA, Seattle, Colorado. I'll just be honest, and I think I literally had Vegas not making the playoffs this year.
And yes, I had them bouncing back. I told you, and not just you specifically, but I just knew to myself with the addition of Bruce Cassidy, that's a really good NHL coach. And maybe it was a blessing in disguise for him to get fired. Not only the way he did, but just fired in general from Boston. He's a good coach, and that roster is still really damn good. It's a good top 6. It's a good top 4
I know.
too.
Yeah, and especially, I don't know. I just feel like because of the salary cap issues, I looked at that bottom 6 going into this year. I'm like, that's going to lose them games. But, I knew Nick Waugh was good.
Mm-hmm.
But, he's not doing anything crazy, but he's having a good year. That defense, Petrangelo's having a great year. Theodore, you know what you're going to get with Theodore. I don't think there's ever been a time he's been in Vegas where they're like, Theodore needs to play better. I don't think I've ever heard that.
They got the Hague situation figured out just in time.
Yeah.
Which I was hoping they wouldn't.
Yeah. Zach Whitecloud, he's actually really underrated.
I don't really pay attention, but I believe it.
Yeah, and then
McNabb and
Martinez is healthy.
Oh, yeah.
He just eats pucks to the face for a living.
And he's fine with it, I guess.
And McNabb, he just cross-checks people's face into the boards for a living.
And he's fine with it.
Yeah. So, now Dallas, this is the thing. They bring in Pete DeBoer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Everybody knows Pete DeBoer will get your team into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Hell, he might even get you out of the first round.
Yeah.
It's just after that he won't do anything. So Dallas being good literally does not surprise me. I know a lot of people and a lot of more popular people, when they did their ranks, they didn't even have Dallas in the playoffs, which I was like, that first line's a cheat code.
Yeah, it really
is. It's a cheat code. It doesn't. I don't understand it. It makes me mad. But and then, we love Miro Heiskanen too.
Yeah, no,
he's having and the Miro Heiskanen in the playoffs.
That's literally a whole different.
That is literally a Conn Smythe caliber player right there.
It's not the same year in the regular season.
And I think for me, the part Jake Ottinger, I'm kind of tired of people talking about that first round performance. But for fair reason, obviously. But I'm I wouldn't be surprised, 9-15, 9-18 goaltender. But there's no questions around him either.
Their defense is honestly when Rick Bowness was there, he was a defensively minded coach, or at least I think that's the system he deployed because maybe he just didn't trust it.
He did a good job at it, though, because what was the problem Dallas, the last 2 years? They just couldn't score.
Yeah, and, if you look, on a hockey reference the past 2 years, they were, top 5 or 6 in goals against with Rick Bowness or whenever he got there.
Yeah. What? So we're looking at, letting Klingberg go, people were saying that was, the right decision, but, I think you also people need to take into account, they literally couldn't in terms of the Ottinger and the Robertson contracts, too, because...
What, sign him back?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that took a while. How long? Robertson, he missed all the camp.
I think you did addition by subtraction on that one. Yeah, you don't. That team doesn't need John Klingberg. It's time for that is Miro Heiskanen's D-core.
Yeah, you needed to stop sheltering. I don't think they really did shelter him. I think Klingberg honestly was.
Klingberg was on the first PP unit
because that's what he's better at.
Yeah,
and obviously Heiskanen's more rounded. But Esa Lindell, I know he's more defensive oriented, which is fine. You got Lindell, Ryan Suter. It was never that he was a bad player. If anything, if you looked at it's obvious which contract was bad. The Suter and the Parise one.
Yeah,
it was Parise. I really don't understand why Bill Guerin felt the need to also buy out Ryan Suter. I felt like you could have lived with it, but again, that's another topic.
Whole different.
Ryan Suter, very great. You know what you're getting. You literally know what you're getting out of him.
Yeah.
You know, so what? Like Lindell, Suter, Heiskanen's good.
Colin Miller.
You added Colin Miller. I like that. Yanni Hockenpie, I think.
What was his do you remember? If you don't know his contract, that's fine. What is Miller's contract?
It's like 1 or 2 years, like 2.5 or something along those lines. Really, I mean, it's suitable.
Yeah.
Nothing you can complain against. So yeah, first line self-explanatory. Jamie Benn turning it around.
I mean, maybe that's what they needed was Pete DeBoer to get Sagan.
Well, and then and then I was gonna say too, that Mason Marchment contract. I had my questions about it.
I think all of us did, and I think it was safe to assume so.
Oh yeah, everyone was right to question it, but there's really no need to now.
No. I mean, Ben, unfortunately, I can't even say unfortunately. He's not particularly.
It's not even like dude's making 9.5. It's about time he started doing something.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's point per game. I know Sagan's not point per game, or at least I don't think he is. But I mean, they're both playing better as to.
They're playing well enough to the point where they're not the reason they're losing games anymore.
Yeah, and
I think that's what you know.
And they don't have to rely on that first line of a literal cheat code.
Even though that first line is still going. Honestly, they probably still win as many games if the supplementary players aren't doing as well.
Yeah.
Because that's how good that first line is. But all right, moving on. Third, with a record of 11-8-2, with 24 points, the LA Kings. Now they're a weird team because at the start of the season they were letting in so many goals. I mean, but you knew that wasn't going to be the theme.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The way I looked at it, like yes, they had a great year last year, almost got out of the first round, but I know a lot of people are having them really high up. I saw them making the playoffs, but I didn't see them as being like a real threat still because they have a lot of young players I still think need to learn. But I mean, they're a rocky team. They're a streaky team. I feel like I think it's fair to say that. But so far, I mean, third in the West. I don't think if you're an LA Kings fan, you're complaining one bit about that.
I'm not sure. Have they do they have their go-to guy in net? Because
I don't think so.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like
I think Peterson's been getting more of the starts. I mean, that's a tandem if we're being honest still.
Yeah, I mean, I remember coming out of preseason. I think it was said that Quick was like going to be the starter.
Yeah.
To begin the season.
I think it's really just Peterson's making $5 million. Like they envisioned 2 or 3 seasons ago when they signed that extension, they envisioned Peterson being the future number one. Mm-hmm. And honestly, in terms of last year, they probably envisioned Quick being the backup, and same more this year. But I mean. Still, it's not a bad thing to have. You have 2 goalies who one's going to be done soon, and the other one's just waiting to take that next step. So, that question needs to get answered soon, but not right now.
They're going to obviously still try and gun it for the playoffs. I mean, they still have. I mean, Kopitar's 35. Yeah, he's
got one more year after this one, I think.
34, 35. Doughty's 31.
Yeah, he's not that old. People. I mean, I'll agree too. People think he's way older than what he actually is.
It just feels like it literally feels like he's been there forever. Been in the league forever. But it's like it's the same thing with all these. The Caps, Pens, Bruins. They're gonna try and make it every year when they have those.
When you have those players, you have to.
So I mean, after this season, I'm not really sure what it entails. I mean, they probably really. I mean, they were really hoping for Byfield to break through this year, and it looked like he actually was like the first week. Him, Velarde, and I can't remember the other.
Turcotte? Well, he's not even in the
they were all on a line together. It was Byfield, Velarde.
Kapari?
I think it was Kapari, yeah.
Caleb? I don't know.
Oh, no, it might have
been. They have so many.
Yeah, so much young talent. But, I mean, then whatever happened to him, I think he's in Ontario right now. So, I mean, he just has to.
I mean, you added Kevin Fiala, which was great. Mm-hmm. The Deneau signing still. He's a great player. I'm not saying that. I don't understand the Deneau signing still because, Byfield. I'll talk about that in a second. But, Fiala, Deneau, Arvidsson's having a great year. Mm-hmm. Trevor Moore, don't understand it, but he's, tearing it up.
Yeah.
Kopitar, you're getting from him. Mm-hmm. I mean, that 1-2 punch is the best defensive punch in the league.
Yeah, you're not going to get, the 90 points out of him like you might think, but he's going to play an amazing two-way game.
Yeah.
Kopitar. He's going to play an amazing two-way game. He's going to get you 65-plus points.
What I think the problem is with the Kings, if they're making the playoffs, if they're going deep, right, like this season, great. I'm so happy for them. But, if you're not seeing that progression from, Byfield, and everybody else, mm-hmm. then are you really, okay, if you win a Stanley Cup, then no one's complaining. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But, if you're not seeing that progression, aren't you just technically, where you were 4 or 5 years ago with an Asian core?
Stuck in the middle of it.
Yeah, I mean, Brent Clark, I think got sent down. Whatever, he's gonna be fine.
There's no worries.
But like Tobias Bjornfoot, he's weird. I don't really understand him.
He was a first rounder.
Jordan Spence,
he's good.
Yeah, he's good. But then it's like, but then you get another bulk like Byfield, Kapari,
Kaliev, he's having
good.
a
I'm not
good
gonna count him. Turcotte, that's a big one. It's like where you have these. I mean, Byfield's a second overall pick. Turcotte was like 8 or something.
He was 4. I think he was 4. He was 4 or 5.
So like, what are you doing with those two players? Like, and I realize Byfield's young still, but like, you are not seeing anything at all. At least Jack Hughes, like his first or second year, you were seeing like he was still like getting a lot of puck carries, touching the puck a lot, shooting a decent a bit. But with Byfield, it may just be because he's the West Coast and I don't watch those games enough. But at least to my knowledge, like, he is not progressing the way, at least if I was a fan of the Kings, hoped for.
I think what it is, and it's just unfortunate for them, because if my team, if my favorite team landed both those in those 2 drafts, I would have been ecstatic. But Turcotte especially, I know he's been destroyed with injuries.
Yeah, I understand that.
And then Byfield, who honestly kind of the same way. I mean, he missed. I forget what he injured last year. I don't think it was his Achilles. I forget what he did, but it's just for those 2 injuries are actually like just ruining their development. I do think Byfield will pan out. I don't know if he'll reach his ceiling still, and if he does,
do you think he'll pan out to the point where he's worth being the second overall pick?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's too close to call. I get that, but aside from like the future, but in terms of LA right now, think they got it all figured out, or they're figuring it out. If they just get semi-stable goaltending, because when you're in the playoffs, you know what you're getting from Jonathan Quick, no matter what age he's at.
Yeah, which I honestly like.
It makes me so happy to see that.
If I didn't see that first round performance last year, I probably would not agree with you, but I maybe eat my words, I guess.
Yeah. So moving on now to the 4th, and I don't know how I feel, but it's the Seattle Kraken. It's the Seattle Kraken.
Do you think this is
we talked about them a little bit already, so we'll spend a short time on them, but go ahead.
Do you think it's one of those teams that just is going to fall back down to earth? It's just like, and it's not that they're going to be like how they were last year, 15 games below 500, but, but just about over 500, but, they'll slowly fall back down to earth. Or do you think or is this legit?
I don't understand Martin Jones.
He got bored and decided to go back about 6-7 years.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Listen, basically, you couldn't have been worse from your first season. Obviously, they were going to be better. Yeah. I get that. Adding Bjorkstrand, adding Burakovsky, getting a full season of Beniers.
Schultz.
You literally can't be worse with that. Mm-hmm. With that alone, you're going to be way better. Mm-hmm. But they have a .639 points percentage. I do now. I'll eat my words. I'm drinking some haterade on this, but I literally don't see that sustaining. Now, tell me, at the end of the season, I think they'll have a record above 500.
Same.
But knowing the Pacific Division, they might make the playoffs. What I'm saying is I don't see how good the record is right now to stay like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I also don't know their strength of schedule either, or what it was like.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Like to start.
But I do know what I've heard, from like other people and other people talking about it. They just play a very boring system. But I mean, can't critique it if it's working. I'm just saying they just play a very boring, defensively structured, lockdown system.
That's Dave Haxtell. That's his ways.
But like, what do we say? Like, if you look at that top 9, dude, that is it's not a contending top 9, but it is a playoff roster top 9 essentially.
If you gave them a first line center, not like a Sidney Crosby or a McDavid, if you gave them like a Braden Point and then McCann's your second line center, that's an amazing top 6. They already have the wingers.
You have the veteran presence.
Mm-hmm. You have Beniers, who's he's having a good rookie year. I do think they will still eventually fall down to earth. I don't, it's just. I mean, then again. Who thought Vegas was making the final in their first year? Yeah,
but then I like the general rule of thumb is like usually come Thanksgiving break, which we're there basically. It's the week of Thanksgiving the time we're recording this. Week of Thanksgiving break, it was like a general theme. Like teams that are in tend to like be in at the end of the season. You know what I mean? So like where you're at now is probably where you're gonna be at or around the end of the season. So like I said, I mean, it's the Pacific Division, so if they make the playoffs, I'm not going to be upset about it or surprised about it. But I do see this team still being a first-round knockout, regardless.
Yeah. If again, that's it.
Because that defense is not, I would love an Adam Larson. I would love a Vince Dunn. But, just because I would love them does not mean, they're going to get you into the second or third round of the playoffs.
But we could also just eat our words.
Yeah.
No, because, in Vegas' first season, who was their number one defenseman? I seriously think it was Colin Miller.
Derek England.
No.
Yeah. Well, Shea Theodore, he was there too.
Yeah, but nobody.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah. He was he was underrated that season.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, Colin Miller did have a really good year.
He was projected. Shea Theodore was projected to grow into top four, or top two, definitely a top four defenseman. But going in their first season, they didn't have a number one defenseman. They had a bunch of these. They had Nate Schmidt, Derek England, Colin Miller. Was McNabb?
Yeah, McNabb was there. Nick Holden, maybe.
Yeah, I think he was another one. So what? So it's literally
misfits. Literally misfits.
So what's the difference between that and Vegas?
Yeah, but
Seattle?
I see what you're saying, but I will say I just think literally what happened with Vegas
was fluky.
Well, not even fluky because they were good, but you're just never seeing that again. That can't be replicated.
Yeah, I mean, I can sit here and agree, and I can also sit here and be surprised if we just get proved wrong.
So, I think we'll end it on that Seattle one. So, the other top five team in the West as of right now, no surprise, it's Colorado.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, surprised that they're 5, but no surprise that we're talking about them being good.
What's their record?
10-5-1, 656 points percentage. So if I sort this by points percentage, we have Vegas, Dallas, Colorado, Winnipeg, Seattle, and then LA at 6.
It's because I do... when you think of how St. Louis is also, they've won 6 straight now.
After losing 8.
Yeah, so I think they're just remembering that, they're supposed to be good. Vegas is going to fall, or not Vegas, what's their name? Seattle, because we both think they're going to come down to earth. You'll see a St. Louis sneak in.
There's no way St. Louis isn't making the playoffs. But with Colorado, I think what they're doing is kind of what Tampa's been doing the last few years. Screw the regular season. I mean, yeah, we're going to try and get in.
Yeah.
But it's we don't need the President's Trophy. Literally last year, Colorado, did not care to win the President's Trophy.
They know they're going to finish with 45 wins and make the playoffs. And
yeah, literally. And I don't think say hypothetically, literally Colorado's the last wild card in the West. Whoever you match up them against, they're going to be the favorite.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So there's really not much to say about Colorado. I mean, you're doing this without Landeskog, Nichushkin, Byram's out. With all and then Newhook not really taking the steps. He's going to be good still, but not really taking the steps. I know Jan Bednar said he had a sit down with him a couple days ago and just talked about his game and how everything was transitioning. So he'll probably turn it around. But yeah, I mean, really not much to ride home about Colorado.
Yeah, I really don't have a singular worry about them, and I don't think Avs fans do either.
Yeah. So we'll transition to the East. We won't spend that much long on it because we've been talking for a while, but Boston, New Jersey, Toronto, Tampa, Carolina, and then just for, shits and giggles, 6 and 7, Detroit, and the Islanders. So let's start with Boston, not spend too much time on it. Main points, what do you got?
Very, very Disney-esque. They're going all in, and they have maybe just that. I don't know how to put it. I don't want to say a chip on their shoulder, but there's definitely just a feeling in the room.
Yeah, and if you look at their cap friendly, this team is literally only built to be good for this year. They have so many expired. I think I'm getting them confused with Washington a little bit. Washington has almost all their defensemen except Carlson, but with Boston it's all their forwards. But anyways, this is the last dance. You knew. I mean, I still feel like Bergeron will play next year. Maybe I don't know. Regardless of that, but it's you know what this is for. Pasta, he's getting paid. That man is getting absolutely paid. You have the performance bonuses for Bergeron and Krejci, which they already met, each of them. So that's literally already getting tacked on for now. You're literally, even if you win the cup this year, they win no one's going to complain. But literally, you win the cup, you have to rebuild regardless for the next season. You know what I mean? Not rebuild, but like, slug out in some misery for a year or two until you can actually rebuild. But yeah, this team is literally built for this season and this season alone. I don't think there's really anything to stop them right now. Because when you have something like this going on, like, you brought Krejci back, it's Pasta's contract year, Bergeron decided, like, all the players around them want to play for them. Mm-hmm. And when you have that, like, I already know that locker room is probably, like, so tightly knit and everything. Yeah. Like, in the end, it really shouldn't surprise anybody if you think about it that way, why they're so dominant right now.
Definitely doesn't surprise anyone. I think it's the fact that they have 2 losses.
Well, no, that's what I mean. Like, yeah. Them being this good is a surprise, but, like, at the end of the day, I don't think people really thought, like, wow, these players are going to come together. Mm-hmm. I think that's the fact that, because I didn't until just now. I just thought of it now. But, yeah, so I think, I wouldn't be surprised if they win the Atlantic Division.
Looks like they are.
Yeah, I think they'll get 20 regulation losses, I would hope. Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, but, first or second, the Atlantic for sure, without a question. I feel like this will be a common theme that we're going to be talking about all season long. Number 2 in the East, the New Jersey Devils.
So I saw this coming from a mile away.
Yep.
Because they have, look at their team. It is a good team. That is, your first 2 centers are Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier.
Okay, first overall picks. I would hope so.
Yes. So, right there, that's really cool to see. I think it makes sense.
That first overall picks are panning out?
Yeah, that's cool.
Uh-huh.
All right, so then let's look at the rest of their top 6. You have, he's not playing, but because he's injured, but Palat. But I'm just going to say.
Your consolation prize for not getting Gaudreau.
Yes. And now he's not even playing. So
yeah.
So Palat, Tatar, Bratt, Sharon Govich,
Mercer, maybe. I don't know. Like, Mercer. Do top 9. You can do top 9. I saw Hollow's like the second line winger.
Oh, Hollow, yeah. They have a good forward core. That I would love to have a top 6 like that.
Yeah. I think what it might be too is, I think I saw like Hischier or someone said it on the Devils, and it's just like, we're tired of losing. Like, if you look at like laughing stocks in the NHL in terms of like success and not winning, it's obviously Buffalo and then Toronto not getting out of the first round, but it should be like the Devils in that conversation too. Like, they have been so bad for so long, and 2016 or what was it? 2018 was Hall's Hart year.
Yeah, it was 2017, 18.
Yeah, like literally throw that out the window because like you literally only made the playoffs because of that, and now look at that. But anyways, like, you have been so bad for so long. Like, it makes me happy to see them doing well, but not because I'm a Penguins fan and I kind of want the Penguins to be in the division.
Yeah.
Nice. But it also shouldn't really surprise anyone because you can't be bad for that long. And when you get so many, like we're already talking about in the Calder, topic, when you get so many top picks and you're spending money on a Hamilton, on a Palat, trading for Marino, like, yes, you want to be good, and finally you're deciding to be good.
Well, whoever said it, are you talking about when Miles Wood said it? Or?
Oh, yeah, it was Miles Wood, yeah.
Well, then they proceeded to lose the second game to Detroit, I think. That was the quote after the Philly game, because then they played Detroit. And then after that, they've been on a heater, but it's also like, say it is like what you just said, like a player came out and said that they're tired of losing, then they flipped the switch. Why does a smart-ass response would be, why don't all bad teams just say we're tired of losing?
I don't really have an answer for that personally, but listen, the defense, like Hamilton, he was injured a lot last year with his first year in New Jersey, so you can see why it took a while. He's having a great year. Siegenthaler, like a lot of us learned how underrated he is. That's good. John Marino, okay, yeah, we know he's good. Damon Severson, I think he has like 4 points on the season, but he's playing bottom pair, which genuinely surprised me because going into this season, I really thought that they were going to prioritize Severson over Marino in terms of like second and third pair right shot.
Why? Because Severson's a little bit more offensive, or
that and tenure, yeah, too.
Apparently Apparently Severson is not very good defensively, or at least last year. But also, it's like last year who was good defensively last year, but because they paired him with Siegenthaler, and I guess that pair actually worked because he one player took care of one end of the ice, the other took care of the other end, but it is a good thing, I guess, where you can have your 40-point defenseman from last year on the third pairing. And who's the other? Graves?
Oh, yeah, Graves.
So, I mean, I like their team. Obviously, goaltending, I mean, maybe this Vanacek, like, this little heater of his is maybe it's a fluke.
Okay, but, like, goaltending is so, like, not random, but it's, like...
Yeah, I'm not saying he's, like, an elite goalie or is going to become elite.
Just say hypothetically he finished with, like, a 920 this season. He can finish, like, a below 900 next year.
Wouldn't surprise you or me.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, and, the thing is, too, especially, like, teams that don't have, like, a Vasilevsky, a Hellebuck, or a Shesterkin in net, teams that have, like, just good goalies. Mm-hmm. What's, like, the saying here all the time? You ride the hot hand. Mm-hmm. You ride whichever goalie is doing better, not... like past history and stuff like that. So
has Bernie even played a game yet? Because I mean, he came back, but obviously
I'm not too sure because I know Blackwood's hurt.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Yeah. What's new there?
But yeah, so I think exciting. I mean, they're making the playoffs. You can't because the rule of thumb. I get it. It's not always going to happen, but they're 15-3. Like they're going to have to lose very badly to miss the playoffs. And I think you can definitely lock them in to make it. Are they going to... I could see them making it to the second round max.
Will they stay first in the division? Probably not. I can see them dropping to 2.
Maybe 3. And, then it also depends. But yeah, we're not even saying where they finish. I definitely could see this team making the playoffs. Toronto, I don't really want to spend too much time on them either because it's like you don't really need to. It's like they struggle every year at the start. And everybody knows what Toronto fans are like and everything that comes with that.
They were barely above 500, and now they're 5-6 games.
Matthews is picking it up. Nylander has 10 goals, point per game. Marner's doing well. Tavares is proving all the doubters wrong. Literally, I think the only thing you can... And, like, your goaltending is as good as it's going to get. Like, you traded for Matt Murray. He's a good goaltender. He got hurt. Well, you should have known that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Samsonov, he's a good goaltender. Is it a coincidence that Samsonov and Vanacek do better second they leave Washington?
I mean, both those goalies have their flaws. Well, not that Murray can really control his because, that's not something you can control. But and then there's Samsonov who playing the puck is probably one of the scariest things for Leafs fans to see. So.
But, all right, and then with that, I mean, you have a lot of injuries. Jake Muzzin, again, another player you just should expect to get hurt.
Well,
I saw today that Chris Johnson tweeted that, like, TJ Brody's like not progressing as well, and they like sent him back to Toronto to get like further evaluated. That's a big blow.
Yeah, because apparently he's. I didn't know he was one of those defensemen until last season that played the right side as a lefty.
Really?
I didn't know that, but apparently he's really good at it. So
yeah, him and Riley are like a great pairing. Riley doesn't have a goal, gets criticized a lot, but you know me, I'm a really big advocate for Morgan Riley. Mm-hmm. I think I mean, like it's like Toronto. You know what you're gonna be second, third worst in the division this season. Oh yeah, third. Well, you're gonna finish third at the worst. Yeah. You can finish anywhere, but so you know what you're getting. Matthews would not be surprised if he gets 50.
Probably
because I know I think he has 8 goals, which is good. I would not be surprised to see him absolutely tear it up again. I mean, then the Nick Robertson discussion, I mean, we can say that for a whole nother, episode.
Yeah.
Because we don't have enough time to go into it right now. Mm-hmm. But, and one thing, too, that I want to add, like, I saw, like, today how the Maple Leafs might be interested in Tyler Myers. Can we stop with these, like, trade rumors going to Toronto? Like, I get it, it's the market, so you're just going to, like, lie in general. But, like, Erik Karlsson's not going to Toronto. Jacob Chikrin's not going to Toronto. Tyler Myers is not going to Toronto. They have 0 cap space, and all these players that they're naming make over $6 million. I know Chikrin makes a little less, but, like, you literally, it is physically impossible for them to get these players.
Well, for Chikrin, it's also not the cap, but it's also, like, what do you have to give up, to give,
Yeah. So it's literally, like, I'm so tired. I literally don't care at all whenever I see a trade rumor involving the Leafs because I'm like, it's probably not going to happen. It's literally probably not.
Enjoy your Tyler Myers if you really want him so bad. Which apparently he's actually not even doing that bad this year, but it's
I would never want him.
But it's also like, Vancouver's got their own issues. So.
Yeah. And then, all right, we'll move on from there. Toronto, you'll be out in the first round again probably. So, 4 and 5, I don't really want to talk about them really because it's Tampa and Carolina. Mm-hmm. You kind of
They'll probably both jump up a little bit more.
Yeah,
especially Carolina.
And if they say the same, no one's going to question it. So we'll just.
And you already have your philosophy on Tampa, where it's like they don't go out to get 55 wins now. It's just like they know what they have to do.
Yeah, and really anything to talk about these teams can just be little things we talk about in future episodes. So we'll just go to 6 and 7, Detroit and the Islanders. See, yeah, real quick on each, and then
which one was first? Who's
Detroit?
I mean, if they make, obviously I'm going to be biased, but I'm going to be realistic at the same time. If they make the playoffs as a wild card, I'll be ecstatic, and I think if they don't fall into bad habits that they had in the Blashill era, which they have shown sometimes this year, I can see them making the playoffs. At the same time, I can also see them being 8, 9 games above 500, but also missing out of it because the Islanders are 11, 12, 13 games above 500, and they get that last spot. So I mean, the goal is to be competitive this year. So far they are. So far, except for 5 on.
Only like one embarrassing game,
which is a record.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah.
But 5 on 5. Apparently they're not the best. They're actually like one of the bottom teams in 5 on 5 goals for. But their special teams in both ends of the ice have gotten better, and that's kind of what we were hoping for as Red Wings fans. On top of that, I mean, you have players like Kubalik and Mata, who so far have been like lights
better
out.
Than you expect. Well, not better than you expect, but you're getting more from them than you thought you were gonna.
Mata is better than what we expected, doing better than what we expected. Kubalik is just doing things I just did not expect.
You're putting him in an area where you know he's going to exceed at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're putting him on the first power play. That's where he's going to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's going on there.
So, I mean, I hope we're playing meaningful games in March and by the deadline and whatnot. I think we can. It's just really, if we really are, it's just a matter of fighting to get the last spot. And if we aren't, if we're only 2 or 3 games above 500, maybe it's time to look at selling off some things, which a Kubalik on that amazing deal in the year he's having, that's going to get you something. So
yeah, no, I think with Detroit, it's kind of what you said. As long as, I mean, obviously it's amazing to make the playoffs. No team doesn't want to, but if you don't make it, it's really not the end of the world. You kind of just want to see that progression. Larkin contract year, figure that out.
Yeah.
Be nice. Hopefully get Sider and Raymond locked up to an extension at the end of this season too. It's kind of really just self-explanatory. You just want to see that growth and development from your players. And if you make the playoffs, and you're being realistic, if they make the playoffs, they're probably out in the first round. That's
beyond fine with.
Because then you get that experience under the belt. You know what I mean? And even for Larkin, I know he made it his first rookie season, but
he hasn't been back.
Yeah, it's really okay. All that experience is kind of forgotten. That's not but you know what I mean. It's been so long, it's not really relevant.
No, I get you. Yeah,
yeah. So. With the Red Wings, we'll see if they fall off or continue to do well. Now, the last thing we'll talk about for this segment, the Islanders. It's expected.
I mean, like the Red Wings, a new coach also does, some things. Getting rid of Barry Trotz. I don't even want to say getting rid of because, I guess they did technically, but they should they have?
I mean, they had his protege right behind him.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole different conversation on if they should have, and that's also about several months old. So, Lane Lambert has is definitely incorporating Trotz's style, but also adding more, more to it. He's been with Trotz for his days in Nashville, I believe, and all from there all the way up till when he got released. But I mean, this team, I don't know. They're 10-6 and something, right?
11-8 now.
Okay. Well,
But the thing that's interesting about the Islanders is they have 0 contracts on LTIR, and they have a little over $3 million in cap space. That's their own cap space. So, and it's yes, their team isn't, contender level, but on paper, that defense is amazing. Goaltending is amazing. I mean, Sorokin genuinely can make the argument as a top 5 goaltender in the league.
I think he is.
Could have been a Vezina nominee last season. And then the forward group, it's really not bad. You have that stupid fourth line that's, you know what I mean? But then you have, Lee, who's scoring goals. Nelson, who's scoring goals. Barzell, who
has a goal.
He has 2 goals.
2 goals.
He's passing the puck. probably want to see a little more from Wallstrom. Palmieri is doing what you got him for. Pajot, I get that he's a great two-way and he's a great center, really good defensive game. But for that contract that you have him on, if I'm him, you would want to see more offensive production. I think he has like 1 goal. Could be wrong. I know it's not more than like 3, but
I think he's had ever since he's gotten to the Islanders. I think he's had good seasons, like offensively. Obviously, like by good I mean like 45-point seasons, which is fine.
But do you think that was worth it? Because I think what that trade was like a first, a second, and a third round pick for Pajot.
Well, I forget what he was doing whenever he got offered. You know, as to why he got off that.
Yeah,
deal.
But I mean, I know if I asked an Islanders fan, I think they're happy with Pajot. So not going to critique that too hard. But like this team, I mean, as much as I hate the Islanders, as a Penguins fan, last season was definitely like really unfortunate for them. You started on a 13-game road trip, which no team's going to do good on. You know what I mean? And then you got hit with COVID very badly. You got hit with actual injuries very badly. Got into a new arena, which got some backlash. Regardless of like how the actual arena was, it's hard to get accustomed to your new home arena already in the middle of a season.
Yeah.
In and itself. So, I mean, really, like last season, they were probably, much as I hate to admit, they were probably the most unlucky and unfortunate team in the league.
Yeah, they were just dealt a bad hand from the start.
With almost every area of things. So, it doesn't surprise me that they're this good, and they're most likely going to make the playoffs. But, yeah, I think nothing bad to say about the Islanders. I think you just want to see a little more from like guys like Wallstrom and more goal scoring from Barzal. But
you really want to see more from Wallstrom if he's playing with somebody like Barzal. They're on the same line. So
yeah, and Dobson, we love Dobson. So
yeah, he's good.
Knew that was going to be well. Romanov, I'm not too sure how he's doing, but still think I think everyone you can always agree that they gave up too much for him.
Yeah, no, they definitely did. But I mean, I would imagine he's doing better. Yeah. You and I both don't know, but
yeah. So and then honestly, now we'll wrap up our talk about how like the top 5 to 7 teams are doing in each conference as of right now, the week of Thanksgiving for Americans. But so now one last thing. I know Sidney Crosby touched on this a week or 2 ago, maybe 3 at the max, talking about how there's parity in the NHL finally. And I think because at this time, maybe a little bit later, like more closer to Christmas, at around this time last season, the top 8 teams in the East were already set.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know when we always would talk, like leading up to the season, I had said like how there's going to be a lot more better, more competitive teams than there are going to be like bad teams. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I mean, Arizona, I know people like talk about like if you don't bring your game against Arizona, you're probably going to lose.
You'll be surprised. And as a Red Wings fan from last year, we were surprised.
Yeah. Chicago, they fell back down. Chicago, I think you can finally clarify as like, okay, they're what we expected.
They are the reason why they're even only 1 or 2 games above 500.
I already know what you're going to say, I think.
What?
Wait, go ahead, say it.
I was just going to say it's just because they remind me a little bit of the shortened season Red Wings whenever, because we weren't good, but the team worked so hard. And, the team would never quit, and I think that's just they are aware that they don't have the talent anymore. They have not had the talent, and they know the spot they're in, that they're rebuilders. Kane and Taves are obviously where they're just. I just think the thing is that the reason why they're not 6, 7, 8 games below 500 at least yet, because
Sam Lafferty and Jason Dickinson,
or that forget what I was going to say. That's actually the only reason.
Yeah, and Alex Stalock playing out of his mind before he got hurt,
and Jack Johnson that's going to be getting a second.
For sure.
But it's just because I think they're just a hardworking team with the systems that Luke.
Well, you know what I also think it is why Chicago's not as bad is because you have these players like playing for their future, so to say. Kane and Taves, I mean they're good players. As much as I don't really like Taves, they want to play well so they can get moved. Yeah. And same with players like Domi, Domi, Athanasiou, even a Jack Johnson. They're playing to be on a playoff team. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when there's that competitiveness with yourself, I think that's why they're a little more competitive. But then teams like Anaheim, not good. You know what I mean? When you're playing Anaheim, that should be an easy win.
And they're I'm
not even
gonna say it. So.
They have 5 wins and they don't have a single regulation win.
I mean, I'm not gonna say it.
Jordan Klingberg?
No, I was talking
Trevor
about
Zegras?
Yeah.
I mean,
we can talk about
so
good, but I'm just saying that He is the driver of their entire, not just that line. He is the driver of their entire offense.
I agree with you, but that's also a good thing in and of itself too. I guess.
Yeah.
It's a good and a bad thing.
Knowing that he can do it on a team this bad actually is
basically
impressive.
I did not expect them to be good this year, but I did not expect them to be literally the worst. So if I'm a Ducks fan, I'm actually kind of upset with how this season's going.
I'm gonna be honest. I had them just about around here. I knew they weren't. They weren't.
If they're like this next year, there's a problem.
Yeah, they'll definitely be better.
Well, okay, but then
Dallas Eakins is 100% not going to be there next year.
Yeah, and then
I don't think.
I think we talked about them already a little bit, but Ottawa, they're hurt. I mean, with that defense, there's
DJ Smith.
The goaltending is not good either. I think we talked about it like one of our practice podcasts, but like, that Gustafsson for Talbot trade was not a good trade. I don't think you don't need to make that trade.
Yeah, no, I know.
You technically got better for this season, but there's no reason to make that trade. But you do have Matt Sogard in the system, so I guess I could see it like that. Just quickly, Buffalo, San Jose, Columbus, Vancouver, Phillies, falling back down to earth. So
Buffalo's doing their
and then like the Canadians are 18th in the league,
and they're probably only one game below 500.
They're actually above 500. They have a 528 winning percentage.
I mean, a full year of Martin St. Louis will probably get you better results.
I knew it. Okay, literally, the Montreal's forward core is every player is an NHL caliber forward.
They have a great forward core, and
they're seeing that early and like surprising progression from their younger defensemen.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, I remember the day, I think it might have been just their first game of the season. Yeah, it was when they played the Leafs. And all over social media, there was a screenshot of their top six, and everybody was actually baffled by how, who were these people?
Well, yeah.
Aside from David Savard.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're like a real hockey fan, like you're a well-informed, Caden Gooley.
Jordan Harris or whatever his name is.
So, but I was trying to say, they're good prospects for a reason because they're good players. So it doesn't really necessarily surprise me that they're doing well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you just
but
thought...
I know, but good. If they're a good prospect, they should be a good player. You know what I mean?
We all thought that even with good prospects, getting thrown to the wolves, especially as a defenseman...
I think that's a great way to put it.
As a defenseman in the league is horrifying.
Yeah, that is a better way to put it, I think. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot more parity in NHL, which, being a competitive, a playoff team, you kind of, wouldn't want that, I guess.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But as an NHL fan, not a team fan, as an NHL fan, I am kind of happy to see that at the same time. So, yeah, I think so far this season, it's a good season so far. I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, after Thanksgiving, like you said, we'll definitely see what teams are really, here to stay and what teams are going to fall back down to earth. For the most part, at least.
Yeah.
Did you even say Pittsburgh? I didn't even hear.
No, I mean, they weren't in, the top of anything.
Well, I was going to say, because I thought you were going to say it on top of, Detroit or the Islanders, but, that's a team that can easily shoot back up. I mean, aside from the losing streak.
They're 5-1-1 in their last 7.
Yeah, they'll be fine. They're going to be fine.
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot to look forward to. So that really wraps up our 3 different segments. Like I said, this is our first official one. Mm-hmm. We're going to tweak around, see what works and what doesn't, and hopefully find a rhythm that we like. And as of right now, we're really just doing this for fun, not really looking to be famous or anything. I mean, that'd be cool. But this is really just for fun, just for mainly our entertainment.
We definitely cannot give a schedule for right now. We definitely cannot.
No, definitely not. And like I said, we gotta mess around with the technology and stuff, and find out what works best for us and what's gonna come out as the best quality for whatever platforms we're gonna put this out on. But yeah, that wraps up the first ever edition of the Stick 'Em Up podcast.
Yep.
So hopefully you enjoyed. Like I said, the quality of these will definitely go a lot better and a lot more smoother. I think at least. We're definitely going to put a lot of our time and effort into this, for sure. We're definitely going to take it serious as well, but we're also going to goof around a little bit too when we can. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yep, see ya.